Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 of the Khalil Jibran podcast. We are blessed, so blessed to be in the presence of the international artist, international visual artist, AB. She's also an art educator, a muralist, a community specialist, and last but not least, a model, plus so much more. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Hey, everybody that's watching. I'm just honored to be here
Yes,
with
yes,
such an amazing artist
yes.
himself, Khalil Jibran.
Shout out to Milk Artist. Shout out to Milk Artist. So how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm just preparing. I'm actually going to Africa. I'm going to
Really
Angola
nice.
on Monday.
And it's your second time going to Africa
This is my
recently,
second
right?
time. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
But this time I'm going for 3 months. So
Whew.
I'm like really having to prepare for that because that's a
Mm.
lot.
So how'd you get connected to an opportunity that allowed you to go to Africa for 3 months?
Well, shout out to Marcy DePina.
Okay, shout out to Marcy, always connecting dots.
Yeah, so it's a school in Angola called the American School of Angola. It's also funded by the United Nations, UNESCO, and they have an artist residency there called Resili Arts, where they want to give artists in Angola a platform to showcase their art, create art, and connect with larger audiences. So they have like a sister city project with the city of Newark because the
Beautiful.
director of the school is from Angola, but he lived in Newark for 30 years.
Mm.
So they wanted to create a cultural exchange, and I guess Marcy was the one to curate the group of people to come.
Hmm.
And she reached out to me. She was like, I know you're an artist. I love what you do. I love how
Wow.
organized you are. I know you also could teach and put workshops together. So she reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to go. And I was like, of course. So I guess basically just the work that I did in Angola made a mark, and they invited me to come back.
Beautiful, beautiful. Snaps to that, snaps to that. Clap it out, clap it out. Ooh, no womps. Claps, 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 claps. So during this 3 months, what are you expected to do? What are you looking to do? And I guess what are you looking to bring back on your way back?
Okay, so what I'm expected to do, I'm going for a artist residency 2 part. So this first 16 days once I get there is 16 days of activism. It's a residency actually funded by the UN
Beautiful.
to talk about violence against women, violence against gender, violence against human rights. So I'm gonna be creating art in that scope of work and within those themes. So that's expected of me. And then come January, we're going to do an artist residency where we go around Angola and like learn about the slave trade and like how that took place there and what that looked like. And they're colonized by the Portuguese. So it's a little different from what we know here. And I'm also, since it's a school, I definitely want to teach and interact with the kids, probably do a mural.
Absolutely.
But for me, I really am just looking to have a change of scenery. I feel like sometimes when you're in Newark so much, it's like you need new inspiration.
Right.
So I really also want to use this time to work on a body of work or collection of work because I feel like I haven't had that opportunity while being here because I'm like, always doing so many things.
Right.
So I'm really just looking to be inspired, um, learn about our culture, our history. Because when I went the first time, I learned that the first Africans that were brought to America were from Angola. And I went to like the slave museum out there. It was just like, I don't know, something took over me. Like I couldn't stop crying when I was there. But
Now, I just want to interject really quick. How does the culture of slavery, post-slavery, affect their culture today? Do they acknowledge it? Is there something that they take pride in as far as overcoming? Like, how is that?
I think it's very different from like our experience here, because their experience is more of being colonized, not like being
Enslaved?
to work to produce. It's more just of a like poverty thing there. I think that's more of the issue. Like
Gotcha.
um and also like the influence of Christianity and
Mm.
um just the Portuguese influence.
Right.
I think it's very different though, because when I was there talking to a lot of the Angolans, it's like we see each other different because it's like a gap.
Mm.
We don't learn of their experience. They don't learn about our experience. We just see what they want us to see on TV and in the media. And when I was there, like I had probably the most luxurious experience of my life. And
Wow.
nobody would think that you would experience that going to Africa. But I think it's just different because they weren't enslaved to the point where they had to like produce or be treated like chattel or like all of these different things that
And
black slaves
I also
in
think they
America.
still had their homeland, so they was able to retain their culture, their
A lot of the
languages. You
traditions.
right,
So
right.
it's a difference. But I'm excited to learn more because
Beautiful.
that second part of the residency traveling, that's really going to be exciting.
Mm. So one more question about Africa. We all know the stereotypes and the depictions that we have of Africa. But did you pick up on any stereotypes that they had of you as an American?
Yeah. I think a lot of like third world countries and other black nations outside of here, they look at us like they see like the rappers,
Right, right, right.
they think of that. So it's like, oh, do you got Jordans? Like, that was some of the things. And I'm like, I'm not into that stuff,
Right,
honestly. So they look at us as if kind of equate us to like celebrities
right,
because
right,
it's like
right.
we actually have the privilege of coming, traveling there, where
Mm,
that's not the case for a lot of people in Angola. They don't get to come and
mm.
travel to America. So they look at you as if like kind of like a elitist perspective.
Like a
But
superstar.
yeah, but
Okay.
I'm just like y'all. I'm just like y'all
Right,
for
right,
real.
right.
Like, and I had to tell a lot of people because they think like America is really the land of the free and it's rich
Mm,
and it's wealthy. And I'm just telling them
mm,
like, no, like look up Mike Brown, look up George Floyd.
mm.
Like
Right.
this is black people's reality in America. Like
Mm,
it's not just what y'all see on the TV with the rappers and the chains and the
mm,
football players and the basketball players. Like it's
mm,
real racism happening here. And a lot of them were like surprised, like, oh, I didn't know that was what was happening
mm.
in America.
Wow.
Yeah. So they just see like the American dream type of
Got you.
thing.
Got you. Got you. Dreams do come true, by the way. So to transition, we know you're a renowned artist, international artist. Um, to me, you're one of the flagship artists in New Jersey, especially Newark. So how did you get? Of course, how did you get into art? Like, what inspired you to be like, I want to be an artist and I want to pursue this as a career? Like, how did that process go? Like, how did you get into it in the beginning, and then how did it turn into something that you wanted to move further with?
Well, I guess I just always been into art and making art. Like when I was a kid, I used to bring back my like drawings and stuff, and my mother would hang them up on the wall, like a
Mm,
gallery style. Shout out
mm.
to my mom.
The power of pouring into and supporting your children.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
think like that was something for me, but I didn't really think about it. And I just always loved like arts and crafts, arts classes. When I was a kid, I took art classes at the North Museum when they used to have classes.
Really?
Yeah, I took like
What year was this?
architecture. I had to be. I think I was still in like middle school. I might have been in like
Wow.
fifth, sixth grade.
Shout out to Note Museum. You guys out here creating stars, international superstars. Wow. What?
Yeah. So
Not to cut you off. Go ahead.
then when I was in Chancellor, I was taking art classes and I was really good at it. And one day I was in my art class and my guidance counselor came out and she was like, I think you should go to this school, which is crazy because I would have. Now that I'm looking back, I'm like, I probably should have went to arts, but it's okay.
Mm,
Um, but she was like, science they opening up in seventh grade. I really think you should go.
mm,
And I was part of the first seventh grade class at science.
I remember
So
I applied to that seventh grade class.
uh-huh.
I remember
It was
in
directed.
the old one.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
remember that. Wow.
So I applied because my father was like, "You're not going to Weekway." I was like, "Okay." So,
Yeah, Dad.
so I applied. I got in, and then I just was into art classes. And really, when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, my art teacher, she actually went to Morris Brown,
Okay.
and she was like, "You're really good at this. Like, you really should."
And what's Morris Brown known for as far as school?
Um, I'm not really sure because Morris Brown, when I was in college, they kind of lost their accreditation. So when I was there,
Got you.
it was only like 50 students on campus. It's all a part of the AUC though. AUC, Clark, Spelman, Morehouse, Morris
Got you.
Brown.
Got you.
But she was just saying like, you should really like, you should go to Clark. They got a good art department, and you get to take half of your classes at Spelman. And I didn't want to go to college because I thought it was a scam. Um,
Partially
and
true.
I was just like, I'm not about to go to college.
Mm,
But my mother pushed me to go to college. My dad pushed me to go to college because neither of them went.
mm,
And I was like, well, if I go to school, I'm going to go to school for something I like. Like I wasn't into. I was always smart, but I'm not into English. Like I'm not into science. Like that's not what I want to do.
right.
And I remember when I was in AP English class, and we had to like write these essays every day.
Mm,
And one day I just drew a picture of me like pulling my hair out, and
mm,
like I'm tired of writing essays.
mm,
But when I got to college, and I really like, I think going to HBCU, I made that decision too. Like if I go to school, I'm going to a historically black college.
mm,
If I'm going to school at all,
mm.
um, so
How heavily did that affect your experience rather than going to a predominantly white school?
well, I think like just to tie it back into the art piece, like learning about, I always knew like I wanted to be like a messenger. When I was in middle school, I thought I was like I wanted to be an activist.
Right.
So naturally, I think going to a HBCU for art and then learning about the Black struggle and like Pan Africanism and like all of these things, it kind of just merged for
Mm,
me. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna be an artist, but my message is gonna be for my people. Like
nice.
I'm a cater towards my people. So I think if I went to a PWI, I probably wouldn't really have uh come into myself the way I did. Like learned about all of the things I learned about our people.
Right.
Um, so I'm just grateful that I did go to a HBCU. Shout out to Clark Atlanta University,
Absolutely.
CAU
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
campus. But yeah, I think that was they basically the difference. But it also didn't really prepare me for real life
Mm,
because it would be times like Newark is a black city, so I'm used to just seeing mostly black people.
right.
In college, I'm around all black people, so when I had to like start getting jobs and like working amongst other people,
Wasn't feeling it.
I was like, what is like like
Right.
I'm not doing this. So but it didn't really prepare me for that aspect, but it also just installed a sense of pride. And like my school's slogan is I'll find a way or make one. So I think that's really like stuck with me. It's like if I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna find a way to
Right.
make it happen.
Right.
But yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, to somebody who's never been to the city of Newark, how would you describe the city, and how would you say the city and living here and growing up here has influenced you and shaped you as a person and as an artist?
The city of Newark I feel like is really brick city. Like if you think of a brick,
Mm,
it's like Newark is like hardcore to me.
mm, absolutely.
But it's so much beauty that lies within like the cracks and crevices, and I think that's like the beautiful part because there's so many beautiful people here in Newark, and not just like I know a lot of people come to Newark and they just come downtown, but I love like sometimes I just get on the bus so I can just
Facts.
hear people's conversations and it'd be funny
Facts.
to me, or like I just love like the culture, the way we talk, the way we dress, like our attitude, like we don't
Yes.
care, we not taking no shit.
Mm.
And I think that's also something that like I is a part of me. Like I remember one day my father was like, "You're so like Nork," and I was like, "What's wrong with that?" He was like, "Just the way you talk and like you talk so hard," and I'm like, "Well,
Mm.
I don't think I talk hard. I'm just being assertive, but I think Nork really prepares you for real life. It
Absolutely.
prepares you uh for not like a fight in a like a it prepares you to for battle. It prepares you for whatever you got to do. You're gonna get it done.
Absolutely.
But I just also think it's so much beauty here. Like we got art, we got poetry. It's so many great people that have come out of Newark and like shared the stories of Newark and like
Mm.
told it in a beautiful way. So that's what I love about Newark. I love the hood. I
So
always feel more safer and comfortable there.
absolutely. So who are some Newark icons that I guess you could say inspire you a little bit?
I'm really bad with this because people ask me this all the time, and I really am not somebody that like looks to the past.
Mm.
I don't study many people.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like there could be more mentors in Newark to be
Most
able to guide
definitely.
the youth and young people like ourselves and people under us?
Most definitely. And that's why when I came back to Newark, I made a decision that I was going to be a part of community. That's why I made a decision to be a teacher because I wanted to show kids in the hood, like, look, I'm from Newark and I've done this, that, and the third. Like, you could do it too because I feel like a lot of times we don't have those role models or we don't see those people that's, reaching above and beyond or like expanding outside of Newark. So I
Right.
think it's like really important. And I think, more people need to. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but the children are really the future, and it's like I always kind of judge people character off of that. Like, if you're not really doing anything for community, you're really not doing nothing at all because you're
Mm.
not giving it back. You're
Right.
not reaching back to anybody so they could pull it forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So I want to segue that into your newest project, which is a mural at Newark Airport.
yeah.
Let's talk about that. How did that come to be?
Okay. Um. So the artist that put the that basically designed the mural, his name is Lacroix. He is from New Jersey. It's actually Ecuadorian, but he based in Newark. And somebody actually shout out to Raisa. She sent me
CEO Cups.
yeah
CEO
cup.
Cups in the building. That's right.
She sent me a post on Instagram like apply for a mural position, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. And
Mm.
I applied for it. I got it. Um,
Nice.
and ended up being like another lead artist on the team. So it was really fun. It's been an 8-month long project. So we started in March.
Wow.
Actually like painting it in a studio piece by piece. And then the last part was really installing it into the airport, which was really dope because it's like, oh, we get to be
Mm.
in the airport before anybody else. Like
Mm.
I seen the airport when it was like that wasn't even there, and it's like all of these things. So I'm just really thankful
Right.
to have been a part of that project. I learned a lot. I met some other dope artists, and I just learned a lot about like the mural making process, and also like working with corporations because these are big
Mm.
corporations that you're working for. It's
Mm.
not just like, oh, we just artists here. Like,
Right. So let's get into that because we all know like um people could look at these two fields as diametrically opposed as far as art and commerce or business. So how is it being in a more free form and freelance world as art and now colliding and collaborating with these big corporations with big budgets and shareholders? How was that exchange and experience?
I think a lot of times, like these major corporations don't understand that at the end of the day, I'm still an artist.
Mm.
And I think artists have a lot of free will and like free thought. So we don't necessarily think and process things the same way other people do. So sometimes it can be a clash because it's like they looking at it as like from a capitalist standpoint, like we just want you to do this. We just want you to, and it's like it's a as an artist, it's a process.
Mm.
Like I can't just, I mean, yes, I could paint a blank wall, but I'm not going to just go right at it. It takes me some time. I got to be inspired. I got to figure out what I want to do, how I want to approach it.
Right.
And I think a lot of times, like, even just outside of the mural project, when I've worked with other, you know, companies or institutions, it's like the expectation is we want you to just do it or work or like and not really understanding the process.
Right.
So I had to actually create a like policies and procedures
Okay.
page. So when I work with people, I'm like,
Invoice
listen.
Drees.
When I work with people, I'll be like, listen, this is my process, so you understand. Or like for instance, in the revisions process, you'll draw something, send it to them. Oh, we like this. Can you change this? Okay, cool. And then like it'll be like once you change one thing, it's like, can you change this? Can you change this? Can you change that? And it's
Right.
like, okay, now you're compromising my art. It's not even the original thing. So like I gotta say, you gotta tell people like you can only get 2 revisions. If you want me to change it a third time, fourth time, you gotta pay.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I know they would put a lot of money into this new terminal in the airport. Um, Now I want to get into what exactly did you guys paint, and why did you feel that they think that that needed to be painted inside the Newark Airport?
Well, I think obviously with the help of Roz Baraka and like you know the people of Newark, they wanted to make sure that people that the airport reflected the city. So a
Mm,
lot of the like businesses that are in the airport are black and brown owned businesses, minority women businesses. And what I love about the mural the most is that it is really representative of the people of Newark, the people that work at the mural. Like some of the people that are in the mural actually work at the airport,
mm,
right? Like somebody that you would just probably overlook, but they're iconized in this piece. And I think that's important because most of the times you go places and major institutions, you don't see yourself represented. You might
right.
not see a black person painted large on a wall.
Definitely.
Like you might not see
Definitely.
a Mexican or Latina person on a
Definitely.
wall like huge. So I think that's what I really love about the project the most is because LaQuad really did a good job like of incorporating black and brown people and like giving people that usually don't get looked at like iconizing them. So
Beautiful.
I think that's dope.
Beautiful.
Even when we was in a installing a mural, right? Like people that was working in the airport, just regular workers that people would typically overlook or like try and
Yeah.
disrespect them because they don't
Right.
have some high position. As we installing the mural, they like, oh my god, like we hear like some Latinos walking by and they like, oh my god, like saying like a
Mm,
Mexican girl or like we
right.
got black people walking by like, oh my god, like a black
Mm,
man is. So I think that's the dopest part about it because most of the times you go places you don't see yourself represented,
absolutely.
and to be represented in art and then something that's going to last forever is like iconic.
Major.
Yeah.
Major. So one more question: how do you guys divide up on which artist completes which part of the work?
That is a good question. We all obviously like it's a team of 8 people, 8 or 9 artists.
Hmm.
We all have our different strengths. Like some of them are graphic designers, some of them were portrait artists. I'm more of an abstract expressionist artist. But I think LaQuad just really kind of looked at our strengths and had us like execute. Like one of
Based
the
upon the
things that
strength.
yeah, one of the things that I did and I was really proud of is I got to paint the portrait of Amina Baraka and Amiri
Mm,
Baraka. So that was really really dope to me because I was like, yes, I
right.
get to paint the
Right. Right.
Barakas
Right.
for
Right. Right.
real.
Right.
So I thought that was dope. But everybody had their strengths and weaknesses, and we also learned from each other. Another thing that I love to do is like I was mixing paint, so I was actually creating colors, which
Mm,
was fun because it's like a science to it. Like this much this, like we literally had was writing out equations for the
wow.
colors. Like okay, 50% this color, 50% 1% that. So it was really cool.
That's high level.
Yeah,
That's high level.
yeah.
So speaking and staying on the subject of the Barakas, right? Um, it's been officially announced by his chief of staff that he's running for governor.
Oh really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I missed that.
So we have breaking news.
Okay, okay, okay. I think even like Roz did a speech at the ribbon cutting, and I was like, yes, Roz. Like he just
Mm,
always know what to say, in my opinion.
absolutely.
And I remember when I was in high school, Roz was the principal
Principal.
for
Yep. Yep.
Central, and I used to always go over there for basketball games and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So it's like good to see somebody that we know that actually cares about the community be in a position of power and like do so many things to help artists, to help the community, like
Absolutely.
to feed the community, uplift the community, and I think that's dope. So definitely, I've
Absolutely.
never, and it's really crazy because I was even when Dupre was running for councilman,
Mm-hmm.
I literally hit him up. I was like, I never voted before, and I want to, I want to vote for you.
Mm,
So it was like I think seeing stuff like that is what not only empowers the community, but It's like I want to vote for you now, so I'm
Right.
going to actually like this is somebody that I believe in, so I'm going to actually go out and vote. So now I'm
Mm,
going to definitely vote for Ross. Got my vote.
absolutely. So just a couple more questions on this subject. Um, one, if he does take that governor position, how do you and who do you see taking over as mayor of Newark?
Hmm. I think a good person would probably be Councilwoman McIver.
Hmm.
Um,
She's a little more younger, right?
I think so, but I just because she kind of is the councilwoman for Central Ward. I think that's
Right.
like one of the most. I don't want to say one of the most important wards in Newark, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot that goes
Goes
into
on,
it.
yeah.
So it's like she could handle that level
Right,
of,
right, right.
you know, expectations of work and productivity. So I think
I can
she's
see
probably really
that.
good. I think
I
I
can see.
think I
Look
really
at that.
I
We got a political hot take from AB. Wow. Put your money
yeah.
on it. Councilman
Oh,
MacGyver, we put the
right. If you
ballot
need
up.
some campaign art, just let me
Yes.
know.
Yes.
But I think I would love for it to be a black woman.
That would be so powerful.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would love to see for it to be a black woman.
What?
Somebody that's actually from the city that's already done the work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about that. A black woman is mayor of the city of Newark.
Have we even had a woman mayor in Newark? I
I
don't
don't
think
think so.
so.
Nah, we just got a Ken Griffith was his name. Let me research his name real quick. The first mayor of Newark.
Oh,
First black man.
Kenneth, yes.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes, Kenneth Gibson.
Uh huh.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah, they got the statue of him up in City
Yeah.
Hall.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow.
So yeah, I would love for it to be a black woman. Let's make it happen.
Mm. You heard it here first.
Let's make it happen. It's needed.
Could you ever see yourself running for a position in politics?
Yeah, I
Mm.
could. I
Mm.
could.
How soon and what position?
Oh, how soon? I don't know how soon. Give me a few years. I got a few things that I want to accomplish. That's really crazy that you asked me that because I was thinking about that the other day. Because
Mm.
somebody was like, "Well, are you gonna leave Newark forever?" And I'm like, "No, Newark is home. Like I will never dip.
Right,
Like I'll
right, right.
always touch base no matter what I'm doing in life." But I probably could see myself running for something like uh maybe South Ward councilwoman,
Yeah, I can see that.
um, or something in the field of
A
like
councilwoman at large.
right, or even I would step into the shoes of Fayemi Shakur and do like the director of arts and culture. Like
There you
that's
go.
something that I would love to do. Um, so yeah,
I
something like
I
that.
definitely can see that for you.
Yeah.
Heavily.
So
Heavily.
it's gonna happen. I just gotta keep building my resume, keep doing the things that I'm doing, but it's gonna happen.
Okay, nice.
What about you?
Oh, me? Oh, that's a good question. I've been toying around with the idea of running for Essex County Executive.
Ooh, what position is that? I don't think I even heard of that before.
Yes, it's currently occupied by Joe DiVincencio.
Oh, okay, I've heard that name before.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's up on MLK. Okay,
He
okay.
runs that building. That's the county building.
Mhm.
He's been county executive since 2002.
We need somebody new.
Absolutely. And my historical breakdown is that he was voted in when I guess the Italian prevalence was still
Heavy.
dominant, and enough young people hadn't just went out and voted for somebody different, or it just hasn't been another candidate to
Really.
really challenge him. Um, I feel like I would be good for that position because he's in charge of all the parks in Essex County and the golf courses.
Okay.
So I feel like I could really.
Now that you're saying that, I've definitely seen his face on when I'm going on what's that 280 by the highway,
Mm-hmm,
Branchwood Park. Yeah. Okay,
mm-hmm,
I know what you're
mm-hmm.
talking about.
Yes, yes,
That's fitting.
yes, it's very fitting, and that's my vision. Everybody that's already doing things for the city of Newark, the next step is just us occupying those seats and
Yeah,
really, being those people.
I love that. I actually, so what we gonna do? We gonna do a voting campaign because we really need to get more young people out voting. It's something that I never really cared about, to be honest, and I think that's why young people don't vote because they don't feel a connection. They don't feel
Right.
the importance or see how it's really affecting them. But like I said, now that
Now
I see
imagine
Roz, it's like
exactly. Now imagine you had that inspiration from seeing Ross, from Do It All, from Councilman McGyver. Now imagine if we run.
right, it's over.
The amount
We
of
get the
young
whole city
people
come
that'll
out.
be inspired, like wow, like, and now somebody that they know is running. Now their whole political awareness is heightened. Now they start being aware of certain issues, how policies is formed,
Right,
debates,
right, and
electoral
showing up
college.
to the important meetings and
Absolutely,
things like that.
absolutely. And this is how we get ahead as black people, because we can't just keep saying about, oh, what we gotta do, what we gonna do. No, we gotta put legislation in effect. One of the reasons why Asians, what they got a crime bill passed, and I
Yeah, the
believe they
Asian hate. That was the first. Oh, I don't want to curse, but that was the first bill that Joe Biden signed. It was
for
first
real,
executive order. His day one. Like, are you kidding me?
right?
And no shade, but it's just like wow. But that's because
They lobbying,
yeah,
they
and
putting
they
that
and
money
they
up,
and they unify. And I think we really need to start unifying.
and we gotta put that money up too.
Yeah.
Money talk. If we get a group together, support one political candidate, and say this is what we need from you, I don't see why things wouldn't go in our favor.
All right, we want to make it happen.
Absolutely,
We gotta talk about the timeline off screen.
we definitely do. You heard it here first.
Future,
Absolutely,
representatives and
absolutely. We so know. You know what I'm saying?
period.
So I want to ask you about, um, I guess your childhood. Were there any things that you were, um, I guess, attracted to as hobbies? Certain quirky things that many people may not know that shaped you and things of that nature.
Yeah, so as a kid, I felt like I was always different. Like I just
Mm.
always knew it. Like I was never into like hype shit, I would call it. Like I
Mm.
never was into the bandwagon. Like I was just telling somebody like I never even owned a pair of Jordans because I just don't care about stuff like that.
Mm.
Um as a kid I grew up as the only child, so I would be alone a lot.
Mm.
Um just creating stuff. When I was in middle school, I was making like friendship contracts for people and like relationship contracts. It was weird.
I can see it now.
I was making
The start
contracts.
of invoice juice,
I was
friendship
making
contracts.
contracts and stuff.
She been doing contracts, man. Don't play with her, man. Don't play.
Right. But really, when I was a kid, I was always just around adults. I just used to listen and watch.
Mm.
And I used to always be around my grandmother. I think like my influences were my grandmother, my aunt. My grandmother was like really into everything black.
Mm.
So I think I kind of took that on from her. Um, but I was just different. I was like, as a kid, I was really quiet, which is weird because people wouldn't think that.
Right.
I was just quiet to myself. I was just always watching and
Mm.
listening. Um, but I was never into TV.
Really.
Yeah, I was never into TV, never really into movies. I just would be like watching, doodling, listening,
Mm.
writing in my journal. Um, yeah, I think I just was different. Like I didn't like to do the stuff that other kids did.
Right.
Really,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
I was just always like chilling. But then I was like, I don't know. I was like always attracted a lot of friends, which was
Mm.
weird, or like just attracted people towards me. But I was just always hung out with a lot of boys because I
Mm.
grew up around all my cousins who was boys. So it was just like
Right.
I was a tomboy as a kid. I like
Gotcha.
riding ATVs and
Mm.
in the woods digging up dirt. Like
Right.
that's the type of stuff that I was doing when I was a kid.
So speaking of boys, how was, like, your love life and stuff growing up? Like how was that for you, being an artist, being a young woman from Newark, being a quote unquote tomboy? How did those translate into relationships for you?
Well, I would say recently sometimes because I'm an artist, because I'm striving for a certain level of success. Like I'm really thinking in terms of like I'm building an empire. Like this is
Absolutely.
so it's sometimes hard to date
Mm.
um because a lot of guys are one either intimidated by what I'm doing
Mm.
or insecure because I'm in like a few years ago I was dating a guy and like I invited him to one of my art shows and the first thing he asked me when we got in the car was like, "What guys in the room did I talk to or I used to date?" And I'm like, "None of them." And he
Wow.
like, "You lying?" And I'm like, "So I'm inviting you to my art show and you don't even have nothing to say about my art? Like
That's the
this
first
the
thing you
first thing
come
you
up with.
talking about?"
Yeah.
Or like I did date an artist one time, but it was like he wanted to be superior than me and like was trying to tell me, "Oh, just do paint and sip." And I'm like, that's not what I want to do. So I think sometimes it's challenging because I am very assertive. I'm very sure of myself. I look at it I look at it as like a business. Like, what are we building towards? And I think sometimes a lot of guys in my age range might not be thinking like that still. Um, because girls mature faster than guys, but it's like I'm thinking of it in terms like what business we about to open, what are we about to do? And I think sometimes that could be a lot for men, like a woman, like kind of. But I
Pushing you in
also
that
know how
way.
to be. I also know how to be submissive and like let a man take a lead. But I don't think I've met anybody really that kind of matches my level or understands my lifestyle really. Like doesn't understand. I might go somewhere and yeah, I might have said I was coming in 10 minutes, but I just ran into somebody and we having a dope ass conversation that
Right.
it's obviously something that I need. So, sometimes it's hard, but right now I'm really just focusing on myself. Um, so I can attract like the right person that's one like match my energy, I guess. Because like I
Right.
said, I'm trying to build an empire. It's like, what we doing?
Mm.
Like I'm like at a point where I'm like, I need a guy that's going to read and that's going to be able to teach me. A lot of guys I feel like can't teach, haven't been able to really teach me anything.
Now I'm gonna ask you this because this is something that I've been exploring the train of thought of. Do you think an older man would be more something that fits your style as far as having something to teach you?
I mean, I've
Or you're
dated
not
older
really, or you're not
guys.
really feeling older men?
I've dated older guys. But then I feel like with older men, it's also a certain level of control
Mm.
because they like you younger. I want you to do this, and it's like I'm not,
Mm.
you know. So it's tricky. I think also like the world we live in, relationships, there's so many different ideologies and things that's like coming at people, and then it's Instagram, and it's like
Facts.
access is easy. You could just start talking to somebody in California and like, you know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
it's really hard. And then I'm also like, I'm not the girl, like I can get dressed, but I'm not going to always be, I don't wear makeup. I don't do all that stuff. I don't wear weave. So it's like, sometimes I feel like dudes don't even like, they'll see me, but it's like,
Right.
you over here chilling. It's like, I'm chilling. I'm not doing any of that extra stuff because I don't really like it.
Mm. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Um, do you see yourself having children?
Yes, it's funny when I was when I was in like high school. I said I want to have 7 kids,
Mm.
a kid from every continent. I told my father that, and he was pissed. He was like, "What? You want to have 7 baby daddies?" And I wasn't thinking about it at that at that time. I was just like, I want to have children in the world. Like I just want to have.
We are the world.
Right. I want to be, but I'm like, yeah, you gotta stay with your dad. I'm going somewhere else.
Right,
But
right.
no, I do want to have kids. I definitely do, but I want to be stable. I want to be with somebody that's going to be able to take on a responsibility and like it's an equal give and take. Because as an art teacher, as a friend to friends that have kids, it's like I don't want to be a single mother.
Mm.
That's not something that I want to do. And then it's like I just be hearing the stories. I would be damned if I had a baby daddy out here talking crazy about me. Like we not together. I'm not. I'm not fit for that. Like so, we got to be locked in, and like it's a business. Like
Did you say you had to be married?
um, I mean, I'm like more so if we get married because it's business.
Right, right, right.
Not really. Like marriage to me don't mean anything. Like
Mm.
I'd be cool with going to the courthouse or something if it's that serious, you
Right.
know. But I'm never I never was like, oh, I want to have a big dream wedding. I don't care about that. Like, why is that our first investment as marriage going into debt? Not doing it.
Mm.
So, I mean, I could see myself getting married, but it's not something where it's like a requirement of us to be together. Like, you know how some girls be like, well, we've been together for this amount of years and you're not trying to
But
marry
what
me.
is legally in terms of because there's certain things that a girlfriend is not.
Allowed.
Yeah.
So like if it's like we get in a house or we got a business and it's like something where it's like your wife, if in the case of X, Y, and Z, your wife or your husband, like that's where I'd be like, okay, we got a lot of stuff going on, like we got a lot. So maybe we should just get married so we could protect our assets, type of
Right.
thing. Like I would look
And
at it like
even
that.
even in the case of health emergencies,
Yeah,
you know, um, the wife has the absolute most say so.
yeah,
And then if you're not legally married, it goes to the next of kin.
mom or daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I
Exactly.
mean, yeah, I would definitely, if it's the right person, I'd be like, sure, you want to marry me?
You gonna propose to him?
Hell no. I ain't proposing to no man. No.
Dope, dope, dope. So, how you think motherhood is may affect your artistry? Because and I say that because I see how supportive your mom is of you, and you guys look so much alike. So, how would you see that translate? Could you see yourself being as supportive as your mom, or a little bit less? Like, how do you?
Definitely. I would definitely be supportive. That's why I said I want to be financially stable because when I have a child, I want to be like an at home mom. Like, I don't want to
Mm,
have to, in 6 months, go work or like, I want to be
right,
able to just focus on being a mom and like catering to my child.
right,
Um, and I'll definitely be supportive. I want my kid to experience new things and try different classes. Like, I mean, my mom gave me that experience, so I would definitely, carry that on.
right.
But I want to be a full like at home mom, like with my
Mm.
baby on my back and I'm painting in the studio. Like that's how I envision motherhood for me. Is has to be. It just got to be that way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, would you homeschool them? Put them in school?
Yes.
How would that go?
So this is I always thought like this. If I was to become a mom, I would then probably since I'm an educator have my own like homeschool. By the
Mm.
time my child is 5, I might. One of my goals is to actually create my own school.
On your Dr. Umar
I actually met
donations.
I actually met Dr. Umar. I went to
Uh
the
oh.
school.
Uh oh. Okay.
I went to the school. 'Cause he wanted me to do a mural, so I went to the school. I think that's really dope, and I think more people need to like. People be clowning and stuff, but it's like here we have somebody that's actually trying to do something.
Facts.
It's like the more support,
Mm.
like let's just support them. But the
Absolutely.
school, the campus is dope. I really hope that in the future it really gets up and running. But I would definitely want to have my own school. And that's probably something where it's like once I'm a mother, I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to transition into motherhood.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. New rules for the children, so we gotta definitely make sure we have blueprints and forecasts and visions to create space for that later on in life. Um, to wrap up, one of my philosophies is that life is really just a beautiful death, and no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter where you're from, we all have one thing in common. We all are
Oh
going to
God.
go beyond this physical plane um, one day, you know. So knowing that and being aware of that. Oh, first let me ask you, how often does that something like that cross your mind?
I'm not like a morbid person, so I don't really think about death. I always just say like if it's gonna be my time to go, then I'll be satisfied with the life that I've lived.
Right.
But I think everybody had a time. But for me, I just be like, let's just make today the best day because you really never know what can happen. Like
Absolutely.
anything can happen, and I've had friends and family members, and it's like here today, going tomorrow.
Mm,
So for me, I'm like YOLO. You only
mm,
live once, but you
mm.
don't really only live once. You live multiple times. But it's like
Absolutely.
while I'm here on this earth, I want to make every day great, or I want to at least learn something or apply myself in a way, so I could, feel good about the day, feel good about what I'm doing. Um, but I mean, I think everybody dies. I'm not afraid to die.
Mm,
I'm the type of person like if we gotta go out there and riot and like I'm gonna do it, people be scared. Like, oh, but they so what?
mm,
Like, I'm not really afraid of death.
mm. So about let's say hypothetically 100 or 200 years from now, what would you like to leave behind? What was somebody in the year 2200 or 2300? How would you like to have affected them, and what would you like to symbolize, I guess, to those people in the future?
I would like to the legacy that I leave behind. I would like it to be one of inspiration, where people look at it and think that they could do anything.
Mm,
Um, I just really want people to do what makes them feel good. And I think me being an artist, that's kind of one of the things that people always tell me, like, you inspire me to do what I want to do. But I would love to leave back behind like some institutions,
mm.
right? Some kids, some radical ass kids that's
That's right.
going to carry the legacy. But I want my legacy to be one of love, happiness, freedom,
Mm,
um, knowledge, and just standing in your power and not being like a slave to the system, doing what you want to do.
right. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And definitely, I'll have some art somewhere. I always tell people like it's funny because I was having this conversation like music is like to me I feel like music is like the supreme art, right? Because
Mm,
you
interesting.
could have a painting and really like it, but if you ain't buy it and put it in your house, you can't go back and listen to it over again. You can't go back and watch it over again unless you got a
Mm,
picture of it and the picture isn't really
mm,
right. But when you think about it in longevity,
mm.
it's art because art is what people leave behind. Like these statues, these paintings, when we long gone, they'll the art will still be here.
Absolutely.
So it's you know, I just hope one day somebody see my art and be like, yo, like
Mm.
she was dope.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. So we at the end of the interview. Any closing remarks? Anything that you want the people to know about you that we didn't get to cover? Any announcements and things of that nature?
Um well I did want to just kind of plug in Black Pussy Power real quick.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get a chance to talk about that. Let's get into that before we close out. You just had an event
Yeah.
this past Thursday,
This
Friday,
yesterday, Friday.
Friday, yesterday. Wow.
Mhm.
So can we get into what is Black Pussy Power? What does it represent? What is the messaging to it? And how was the event yesterday?
Well, the event was amazing. Black Pussy Power. Shout out to Nico B. That's my best friend from college. When
Shout out
I
to
was,
Nico.
but when I was in college, one day I had to jump on, and I asked her like, "What should I put on?" And she was like, "Black Pussy Power," and I was like, "Oh my god, that's like way too much to put on the shirt that everybody going to see." But as I started like going to these art shows, it was a lot of feminist art shows, and it was just dainty shit like, "Oh, I'm brushing my hair. Oh, like look at my body," and I'm like, it's so much more to being a woman than the beauty of it. Like sometimes
Mm,
it's not really a beautiful experience.
mm,
So as I started like creating my artwork and like healing through my art, it just made more and more sense to title it Black Pussy Power because it's me affirming myself, me reclaiming my power from my experiences, and then it has just evolved into a space where I wanted to be something for Black women to feel safe and feel vulnerable because we always got to show up for other people.
mm,
But we rarely have spaces to just be vulnerable, to just talk about things that we experience as Black women.
mm.
But because I am a revolutionary, actually, the other day I was talking to Bakir. He was like, "But no, Drees, it's not just about sex and relationships. What is Black Pussy Power about?" And I was like,
Mm,
it clicked in my head. and I had like an image of like black exploitation, like Pam Grier with shotguns. It's about black women uplifting our community, raising the consciousness, fighting against systematic racism and oppression, and also just having a space for black women to be black women. And it's also no coincidence that it's BPP, Black Panther Power, Black Panther Party. A lot of the Black Panther Party would not have been what it was if it wasn't for the women. They was really the ones running it. So for me, that's what it's about. I'm a womanist.
Shout out to Bakir for putting that pressure on.
Yeah, he definitely did. I was getting irritated too. I was like,
'Cause
like,
I kind of want to ask you that for a while too, but I'm like, let me wait. Let me let her marinate on what it is, and I'm gonna ask her one day about what it really represents.
yeah. So I feel like it would. Out of that conversation, I realized that one, it's a space for women because we need that, but it's also to raise the consciousness because black women are the mothers, the nurturers, like we are the teachers of our communities. So it's like if we not mentally right, it shows in the community. And it's also not a space to bash men. Like I think when people hear like all women, I'm not a man basher. Like I'm always the friend that's like playing devil's advocate for somebody's man or like whoever they dating because it's like black men need space too. Black men need a place to be vulnerable. That's why I say real niggas cry too, or like
Right.
stuff like that. Street soldiers stand up because it's not just for black women; it's for the black community. Black Pussy Power is about restoring black love, restoring the black family
Mm.
because we are broken. And really, another thing that really inspired me is when I read the Willie Lynch letter.
Mm.
He kept making emphasis on the black woman, like if you break down her, she's going to teach this to her kids, and then the family is just going to be destroyed. So it's like we need to kind of like retract a lot of those things. And honestly, moving forward, some of the things and topics that I'm going to talk about, probably black women is going to be the main ones that's not going to like what I got to say.
Mm.
But it's like we have to hold ourselves accountable. We got to kind of stop
Oh,
this
the A word? Oh, they
nonsense.
gonna hate you for that. The A word? Oh man, Dries, you gonna have
We
some.
gotta like one of the things I literally wrote out a list of topics that I want to talk about, and one of them is angry black woman. I'm like, why every time I'm going into a store, it's a black woman screaming and yelling at somebody? Like we gotta
Right.
stop this shit. Like
Definitely got to stop it.
So or like even I got like I said I got a lot of male friends and they always talk about how women be like fuck niggas and they really that really hurts them. So it's a space for the community to come
Keep
together,
going. I'm
but it's
listening.
led by it's led by the woman. It's led by a womanist, um, and I feel like I would never call myself a feminist because I know where that stemmed from. I know that they
Yeah,
created
so
that
let's
to.
get into that. Let's get into your views on feminism. Let's get it, if you don't mind, I guess a little brief history of feminism and how do you think is affecting young women today?
Well, feminism was created to disrupt the civil rights and the
Mm.
Black Power movement,
Mm.
right? Because we were fighting the white man.
Are we still The time so there we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Check this out.
yes.
So it was over for like.
All right,
Word.
perfect. Okay, so what I was saying about feminism, I don't consider myself a feminist because I know where that stemmed from.
Mm.
White men needed something that was going to disrupt the civil rights movement and the black power movement, and they realized like, oh, these women are really the like backbone to these men. Like they are really the ones that's encouraging them to go out there and fight the fight and like
Mm.
so now if you create division between a man and a woman, it's just going to interrupt the whole system, and it did. And from that,
Nah, I definitely do. Cause one thing I can say, right? There's been points in my life where like women inspire me. And sometimes they don't even like aware that they inspire me at the moment, but it's like it gives a man like real superpowers, when it's done correctly.
right,
And
right.
it takes a man's belief like just to beyond whatever. You got a man and he with a woman that he cares for, whether it be his mom, his sister, his girlfriend, whatever, and he feels like he gotta protect her from whatever's danger, he gonna go above and beyond. But I feel like nowadays, women are want to be so equal and want to be so
I don't want to
the
be equal.
same. So it takes away that like
It
thing.
takes away a like one of the things that I've always heard or like recognized about men is like women we could take on a lot more stuff. But like the verbal banter and stuff like that really gets to men. So it's like
Nah,
you
it
really
does.
have to
Cause we love,
support and you can't emasculate.
cause we love y'all so much, right? So and we hold y'all what y'all say to such a high regard.
So it's like you say, "Nigga, fuck you!" Like they be like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah. Cause you gotta think, right? We grew up with our moms, so it's like that feminine thing is what you look for as like what defines you. You know what I'm saying?
It's like that reassurance that
Yeah, like you can hike with your friends, your boys all day, but when that girl say something about you, it's like,
damn,
word.
you really feel like that."
Even when you hiking in front of a girl, it's like a whole different thing because you want your perception in her eyes to be Superman at all times.
Yeah. So I think like I said about Black Pussy Power, those are some of the topics that I want to talk about because it's like we ought to really stop this fuck niggas narrative. It's not getting us nowhere. We're not building strong families off of that narrative.
Mm,
Like we really have to stop it. We
mm,
really got to stop this. And it's nothing wrong with being independent, but like men are supposed to lead. Like I look at it as
mm,
this: like men are driving a car, we might be the navigation. Like
mm.
you know what I'm saying? And I just think men take things a lot more personally than we think because they always got to have this perception of strong and if you
Word.
have emotions, it's weak. So it's like those little things that you say really affects men in a certain way, but we might not see it. And I think that's also a problem. We don't see how it's affecting y'all, and y'all not really telling us.
And from a man's perspective, it's like you can't really say nothing because you just had that voice in the back of your head. Somebody like, oh, this nigga a bitch.
Right.
Oh, he emotional. He da 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 da. So as a man, it seems like the best thing to do is just remain silent.
Yo, one of my friends was like, she said something like, I was talking about a guy that was like, guys crying or something. She was like, I don't want no man that's gonna be crying. And I was like,
Word,
I looked at her, I was like, so, like, what you mean?
word.
And she was like, I just think that's so. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with a man crying? Like,
And and with these certain women, I feel like they never really have men in their life.
yeah, like I always tell people that like I grew up with my father. Like from fifth grade to high school, I lived with my dad.
Word.
So I don't necessarily think like that. I
'Cause
don't think
their
like that.
perceptions of men is like a checklist or constructed version of like all the TV shows and
Yeah,
people from the books they read. So to me, it's not really grounded in
it's not grounded in
reality.
anything, and that's why I think like I just be looking at the whole timeline. I think I called it the other day like the contemporary timeline of the Black life,
Mm.
right? And it's like if you really think about it, During the civil rights and Black Panther movement, family was strong. Then feminism, the war on drugs, everything has been to like destroy the Black family. And it's like
Right.
now people are playing into those narratives and regurgitating the bullshit and like not realizing it's driving us further apart. Like we really need
Mm-hmm.
to be together. So that's why when I say Black pussy power, we believe in restoring Black love. We believe in restoring the Black family because it's needed.
So
It's
needed.
needed. Like it's needed.
Mm.
It's really needed. But yeah, I'm not a feminist because also within feminism is racism.
Mm.
It's you know
Mm.
how you calling yourself feminist and we supposed to be sisters, but you a Karen.
Mm.
Like that don't make sense. So I'm a womanist.
Mm.
Nikki Giovanni, no, not Nikki Giovanni. Alice Walker actually came up with that term.
Beautiful.
So I'm a womanist.
So also, I know you have some murals throughout the city, correct? You want to get into where some of people can find some of those murals? I know
Yes.
you have also themes with your artwork too. Street soldiers stand up. Real niggas cry too. Um,
Smile, you are beautiful. North needs you.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
Thank
my first mural that I really felt really proud of was on Avon Avenue, 74 Avon Avenue between South 11th and South 10th Street. Um, but I just feel like in the hood we need positive imagery. It's like a form of propaganda. That's really all art is. It's
Indeed.
like
In the
so we
words
need
of Mary Rocker.
we need positive propaganda, like things that people could look at and feel inspired and like think differently. So yeah, when I say street soldiers stand up is because I need and it's like somebody said to me, like, well, why are you saying real niggas? It's like, well, I'm talking to real niggas. Like, I'm not talking to like somebody was like, oh, you should change real niggas cry to black real men cry to. And I'm like, no.
Mm.
I'm talking to my niggas.
Mm.
Right? And it's like that's where people be missing it. You can't preach to people and not talk to them on their level.
Facts.
So it's like street soldiers stand up because I want people to be like, I want men to see that and be like, I need to stand up for something. Like, I need to protect my community. Or Nork needs you. When people see that, I want people to be like, no, Nork needs you.
Mm.
Like, so whatever it is that you could bring to the table, we need you. We need you to do it. And like, smile, you're beautiful. Like, these are the things that people need to see because it's like, I know what it's like growing up in the hood and not seeing nothing positive.
Right.
So it's like I always try to when I'm especially when I'm doing artwork like that in those neighborhoods, it's like we gotta be real specific with what we put in here. Why would I paint flowers? Like that doesn't mean anything. It's
Mm.
not saying anything to the people here. So yeah. Another one I have is on Clinton Place between West Runyon and Tillinghast. It's titled "You Matter." Um, because I didn't want it to say Black Lives Matter. I never really was with the movement
Good
because
choice.
I remember I was in college. Elaine Brown came to my school. She did a talk and she was like, "What does Black Lives Matter do?" Like, I don't know what they do. But
Mm.
when she said that, I was like, "This is the former president of Black Panther Party." Like,
Mm.
and she got with this, and I was like, then I started really looking at it like, well, what do they really do? So I wanted to say "You Matter" because whoever sees it, it's not about we got Spanish and Puerto Rican and Dominican people in the community. So it's like I'm not about to single anybody out. It's you matter. Whoever sees it, interacts with it, it's you. Like you matter. And I think a lot of times, you know, people in the hood don't think that they are of value.
They don't. They think they're outside of the conversation.
So I want them to feel valued. That's why I'm talking directly to you. You matter. Street Santa sold up. Nork needs you because you are it. Like we need you. We need you. So yeah, um, I always just try to put positive messages in those communities because they need it. And even when I get like a lot of good feedback, even when I'm out there doing the murals, people be like, "Oh my god!" Like
Mm.
like, and like I was saying in one of my videos, it also shows people that their community is valued. Because if you come downtown and you see all of this artwork, And then you go to the hood, and it's like, damn, there's nothing around here
Word.
that's uplifting. That's
Word.
so it's like we have to be the ones to put that in our communities. And I'm also very proud that most of my murals are in the South Ward, which is I grew up in the South Ward, so I just want people to feel inspired and feel needed, like you are essential. So yeah.
Mm. And just like a little extra, how do you feel about everything that's going on with Kanye West and Kyrie Irving?
Okay. I mean, I love Kanye West. I'm a Kanye West fan, and I get that sometimes he might not express and say the right things, but I had to tell somebody the other day, if somebody took sound bites of my life and the shit that I said, I would be canceled a million times. Like, we don't know the full conversations. We don't see the full story. They obviously are showing us only thing they want us to show us. And I also had to tell somebody, Kanye West is a black man. He ran for president and successfully got his name on the bill.
Facts.
And he wants to run again. And I'm like, people got to understand, like, he in the industry where he's seeing certain things that we don't know about. So it's like, it might sound outlandish, but when he say certain stuff, I'll be like reading between the lines. Like when he was talking about the whole Pete Davidson, and he kept mentioning Hillary Clinton. And I'm like, why are you talking about Hillary Clinton? And it's like stuff like that. It's like, and I also just think that nobody is perfect, and we just need to lead with love. Like that's all I'm gonna say, because I just spoke to somebody yesterday and I was like, I don't always agree with the shit that my father do. Like some of the stuff I don't like that he does, but I'm not gonna be like, oh fuck this nigga.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna be. I still love him, and I think we need to just love people. Kanye West ain't out here killing nobody, hurting nobody.
Definitely not.
He has never really promoted any like death music for real. So it's like, I mean, yeah, some of the things he might say is outlandish, but it's like he in a whole nother world where he might have seen some things that we don't know. And of course
Absolutely.
it sounds crazy. And I told somebody, watch Enemy of State with Will Smith.
Mm.
And if you watch that movie, when you know the truth, they will do everything in their power to discredit you and to make you look crazy.
Mm.
And I think that's, something that's happening to him. Despite he might have mental illness or whatever, but I fuck with Kanye.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And with Kyrie Irving, I think it's just, I hope after this season he retires.
Really?
Yes.
How come?
Because I'm like, I wouldn't even want to play for a team that did that shit to me. Like
Right.
me personally. But I understand it's also like honor and persevering. But it's like, I think that's really fucked up what they did to Kyrie Irving, because it's not even like he said anything.
Word.
He didn't even say anything. He literally tweeted if anything, an image of a black fist. And I think that's what's really people was really mad about. Like they just don't want us to wake up. They just don't want us to be privy to our power, the true power that we hold, and like the truth of the matter is like the original Jews were black. Like
Word.
a lot
Jews will
of
tell you that.
right. And it's like, these industries and institutions, they are doing everything in their power to not let it be another black messiah. Like that's really what it is. And I just really feel like them taking away his sneaker deal, like that shit it's excessive. It's too much.
Yeah, it's going there.
They like went way too far. But I also think because of Kanye West comments and him not apologizing, they like, oh, we gonna make you apologize.
Facts.
So I mean, it's just unfortunate, because even that was something that I don't even think Kyrie had tweeted that recently when he got interviewed. It was like a few weeks ago. So it's like they specifically, I think because of Kanye West comments, they was like, okay, now we're going to make the black man apologize, because we can't get Kanye to apologize. Somebody got to apologize.
Right.
I just think it's unfortunate. I do hope that I hope he just do something different. I wouldn't want to play for an organization like that after something like that.
Right.
I think that was foul. Like it's police officers out here killing people with paid time off.
Facts.
So, yeah.
So, what's one thing that you would tell artists on the rise going on their journey?
Artists on the rise, just keep going. You're gonna hear a lot of no's before you hear a yes.
Mm.
And just don't compromise your art for anybody.
Mm.
Because the right people going to see it
Mm.
and the right people going to love it.
Right.
Um like when I do stuff for people, they be like, "Can you change your wording?" No. This is
Mm.
why you hired me.
Facts.
Like, so I would just say stay true to what it is that you do. Don't compromise and keep going. Like, even when you feel discouraged, just keep going, because it's been so many times where I've applied for things, I didn't get it. I got overlooked, and I could have just been like, it was times where I just felt like, man, I'm not doing this no more. But then it's just like, no, you have to just keep going, because it's not even, honestly, and don't do it for other people.
Mm.
Do it for yourself. Like, I create art because it's something spiritual and therapeutic for me. It's just something that other people happen to like and are willing to pay for. But anytime I've ever tried to like make art for money, it never turned out to be anything great.
Mm.
So it's just like, stay true to yourself. Don't compromise. Don't follow the bandwagon. Don't think of your art as capitalist or capitalism. Just stay true to you, and those opportunities and what's meant for you is gonna come.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, AB, the international artist, the muralist, community specialist. The list goes on and on. We thankful for you to have you today. Thank you for coming. Um, hope all of you got a more of a piece on this amazing artist,
Yes.
and we look forward for more to come.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm appreciative. Is this the first?
This is the first. The cherry
Hey.
is popped.
Hey. The art kingpin and the art
Facts.
queen pin.
Hello. Hello. So tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at Golden One with a Q, so QOLDEN1_. That's on Instagram. If you want to follow Black Pussy Power, that is BLACKPUSSSSY
Mm.
Power. My website is AndresBradyArt.com. So yeah, you can follow me there.
Yes. So if somebody wanted to support you, what would you advise the best way for that to be?
The best way to support me is support me, cheer me on, tell me if I'm inspiring you. Tell me, like, I need to hear it. And some people just be like looking and won't say nothing. But tell me, support me, share my stuff, interact with me, engage with me, buy a piece of art.
Mm.
Um,
How can they buy a piece of art?
well, right now I'm branding my website. But a lot of times people ask me, "Oh, can I buy art?" And I'll like kind of give them like an exclusive studio tour, or share with them pieces that's available, because I don't have an actual studio yet where people can come in. So that's really the process how it's going. Or like sometimes I'll just post things up for sale. But I'm also just got a new manager, so I'm working on getting my
Okay, okay.
website
There we
together
go.
so you can actually buy pieces if you want.
Mm.
But yeah, support me. Send me a cash app. You know
Hello.
what I'm saying? Like for some brushes or some
Mhm.
canvases.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
how you can support. But
Okay, beautiful.
yeah, the support doesn't have to be monetary. It's just love.
Absolutely. Mhm. Thanks again. First episode of Khalil Jibran Experience. Khalil Jibran, one time for your mind, two times for your spine. The incredible AB. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Peace.